Hey everyone, welcome back to another Consulting Success Livestream. And today we're going to be talking about the marketing maturity model. If you want to get more clients, if you want to have a more robust marketing system and truly understand what type of marketing you should be doing depending on what stage you're at in your business, stay tuned because we're about to dive in. All right, guys, welcome back. Just brought the whiteboard in so we can dive in. Great to see that we got a bunch of you already here. Just go ahead and type in the chat box. Let me know where you are logging in from. Say hi, so I know it's always good to see some familiar faces. Today, we're going to be talking about the marketing maturity model. And this really comes from questions that, or a very common question that we get at Consulting Success, which is, hey, what type of marketing should I be doing for my consulting business? In this day and age, people often like to say, oh, this is the best option, or this is the new trend, or but that's not what we believe. Our experience over the last 22 years, almost 22 years, 21 years plus of building consulting businesses, 13 years working with consultants, we've found that there is not necessarily a best, because the answer is it depends, right? It depends where you're at in your consulting business, what stage you're at, and depending on the stage that you're at, that will help to influence the type of marketing that you should be focusing on so that you can see the best results. All right, we got Sean in Victoria, Keith in Abu Dhabi, Desney in Atlanta. It says LinkedIn user, I don't know your name there, in Lagos. Welcome to so many of you here. Great to have you guys joining. So let's get into it. I want to get right into the kind of the lesson I want to share with you all here today. Hey, Jason in Trinidad, TNT, good to see you. What type of marketing should you be doing? All right, so let's break this down. First of all, there's two big types of marketing, right? If we look kind of like the themes of marketing overall, let me just bring this in for a second. Hopefully you guys, whoops, let's get that back into focus. Can we get that into focus? Let's see. There we go. All right. So two different types of marketing. One is we can call inbound. Right. So inbound marketing refers to when people are coming to you, right? They are contacting you. You don't need to go to them. They are coming to you. And that is usually facilitated by content creation, right? Does that make sense, guys? Go ahead and type in the chat box, maybe some ideas of inbound marketing that you are currently doing and that you're finding is working for you. But that's one big type of marketing. If we put these into two big kind of categories. The second is outbound. All right. So as the name suggests, outbound simply refers to you going out, right, to an ideal client. So you identify who an ideal client is and you go out to them, right? You outbound to them. So very simple way to think about the two big different types of marketing. Now, which of these two do you guys want? Which do you prefer the most, right? Would you want inbound or do you want outbound? Where would you like to be getting your clients from? Go ahead and just type in the comment box there. Fernando, welcome from YouTube. We got mainly YouTube and LinkedIn. Looks like today. I don't know if anyone's on Facebook. Let me know. But what type of marketing and of clients do you want to be getting? Do you want more inbound clients? Do you want more outbound clients? Go ahead and type in the box there, guys. I'd just be interested to kind of do a little quick poll here. All right. So some people are saying both. Not sure who that is. All right. Sammy's saying outbound. Melinda's saying inbound. Irene Dam is saying inbound. Desney inbound. Keith inbound. Felix inbound. Yeah. So here's the holy grail, right? What most people want. Those of you who said outbound, I mean, good on you. That's fantastic that you have that mindset to go out, right? You have that energy, but most people want inbound. And the reason that most people want inbound is because essentially that is people coming to you, right? And you don't, it's not that you don't have to do anything, but it's much easier for most people to think about engaging in a conversation when people are reaching out to you, right? It shows that they have interest in what you're offering, what you're providing, as opposed to you having to try and sell or promote, to them to get them interested, right? So that's why inbound is really the holy grail. However, if you only focus on inbound at the wrong stage of your maturity, of your marketing maturity, it can take a very long time for you to start seeing results. So what I'm going to do is just break down for you guys where to be focusing and at what stage. Before I do that, just maybe to clarify here and provide a little bit more kind of detail, I want to be more specific to make this very tangible for you guys. Right. So inbound, a good example of inbound would be writing articles that you publish to your website, or, for example, publishing content to a platform like LinkedIn or YouTube videos, having a podcast. What other kinds of inbound ideas do you guys have? Type in the comment box there. Let me know what you are doing. But that's just a few examples, right, of putting essentially, typically it's content related, And then people, your ideal clients, see that content. They go, oh, that's really interesting. It resonates with me. So I can see myself in that. I feel like that person understands me and they could help solve my problem or get me to where I want to go faster, right? And so then they reach out to you to engage in a conversation. That's inbound. Outbound is the opposite, right? You identify who your ideal client is and you go out to them. And that might mean that you send them emails, you make phone calls, you send kind of direct mail to them, which could be a bit of a blend of inbound because you have content in that in some cases. But really, you identify an ideal client and you go out to them, right? And so you are trying to initiate the conversation. Hopefully, if you do it properly, right, in a way that provides value and really also helps to build a relationship, right? So at Consulting Success, all of our clients that we work with in our Clarity coaching program, we're always focused not just on doing outbound, marketing. That's just one piece of it. But if you're going to be doing outbound, you want to do it in a way that's going to position you as an authority, as an expert, and that you're going to feel comfortable doing. And usually that means that you're focusing on providing value and really building a relationship. So that's really critical of how you approach that in your messaging and really how you put these two together, because even good outbound typically will include content that you might be using from inbound as well. So these two can definitely go together. It's not one or the other. Does that make sense, guys? If you're finding this helpful, and I'm going to get into what stage you should be focusing on which one in just a moment. But if you're finding this helpful, please go ahead, hit the like button. If you're on LinkedIn or the follow button or subscribe button on YouTube, the more that you do that, the more people will see this. That's the way these algorithms work, I've been told. And that's helpful because the more people that see it, that's our whole goal. That's why I'm doing these live streams, because I want to help more and more consultants. That's my mission, is to really, we want to help entrepreneurial consultants build really profitable, scalable, and strategic consulting businesses. That's what we do at Consulting Success. And so if you hit the like button, more people will see it. I really will appreciate you doing that. So please go ahead and hit the like button. All right, now let's get into it. So at what stage should you be doing each one of these? Well, let's say that you are brand new to consulting. And actually, let me retract that. Let's say that your marketing is currently not mature. And here's what I mean by that. You may have been a consultant for 5 years, 10 years. You might have referrals coming in to your business, and you have clients. But if you've never really done marketing, if you don't have a real marketing system, if you haven't been intentional, proactive, consistent with your marketing, then what I would describe your marketing maturity as being low. And so in that case, right, if you're newer to marketing, then you're going to take one approach. Whereas if you are much more further along and you have a lot of business and you've been doing marketing, then your approach is going to be different. So this is not 100% rule, because there's many variations and just different situations that everybody is in, right? It's like on a case-by-case basis. And we always like to look at that, because it's not just what you read and, somewhere online that applies 100% to what you're doing. You always want to look at how does it kind of match to your specific situation. But let me kind of give you an overview of the average or the most common situation. So for somebody who is new to marketing their consulting business, or someone that does not yet have a strong pipeline, a lot of clients, a lot of business, they're going to want to start off. And these are actually kind of at the wrong, let me flip this around. So let's start off here. Red is outbound, right? So if you're newer, what you're going to want to do is you're going to start your marketing doing outbound, okay? And the reason for this is that with outbound, if I identify an ideal client, like literally I can go onto LinkedIn or use different tools or whatever it might be. I can identify, if I have a list of ideal clients, I can reach out to them today. I can send them a message on LinkedIn. I can send them an email. I can do all different kinds of things to get in front of them literally today, because if I know who they are, right, which is why it's very important that you have clarity around your ideal clients, but I can get in front of them today. With inbound and content, you can't do that typically, right? You might put your content in front of somebody using outbound, but you can't just post an article on your website or publish a podcast or publish a video on YouTube and instantly reach your ideal clients unless you already have an audience following you. Right, which is why outbound is typically the best way to start, because it allows you to start building, visibility and awareness and recognition and relationships. Right, it allows you to start delivering value to your ideal clients right away. Like literally, you could identify an ideal client today and actually start a conversation with them today or tomorrow. With content, in many cases, it can take months. It's not uncommon if you're publishing, let's say, content on your website. It could take many, many months before you actually start building up a sizable audience from that content, right? That's just the way things work. So that being said, what you want to do is you want to be doing outbound typically to start. And as time goes on, what you're going to find is that you can do less outbound. And the reason that you can do less outbound over time is because as you're doing this, you're going to start creating relationships. You're going to be delivering value, right? You're going to build your pipeline. And so you won't need to do as much of this because your overall business will be growing, right, as you do this. Now, at the same time, let me get the blue. So blue is represented here by inbound. So with inbound, when you're at the same kind of point, you're going to be starting to do inbound, but you're going to be doing less of it. The reason you're going to be doing less of it is because it takes longer for you to actually start seeing the impact from it, right? So if you start off and all you did was inbound, the challenge with that is it could take many months for you to actually really start engaging and building relationships with your ideal clients. Whereas with outbound, you could do that in a couple of days or a very short period of time. Therefore, what you want to be doing is still, even when you start off, let's say that here, where's my red? Or oops, I'm dropping all my markers. Let's say that here you're spending maybe 70% of your time initially, and here maybe you're spending 30% of your time, let's say from a marketing perspective. So you'll be doing less outbound to start, but over time, you're going to be able to actually do more inbound and less outbound. So the reason for this is that as your pipeline starts to fill, because you're doing the outbound, you're establishing relationships, you're building your business, you're still doing some inbound. So you're building up your authority in the marketplace and you're using the content that you're creating as part of your inbound strategy and with your outbound. So let's say you write an article, you publish it to your blog. Well, one of the best practices would be to take that article and then also use it in your outbound to send to people, right? You're delivering value, building relationships. Over time, your pipeline will be strong enough that you won't need to send the emails and do the LinkedIn stuff as much as you may have had to do before, because you have enough momentum in your pipeline. You have enough opportunity, which allows you again to decrease the amount of outbound that you're doing while increasing your inbound. And again, inbound is a holy grail, right? Because the more content that you're developing, right, the more intellectual property that you're publishing, you're putting out into the marketplace, the more that's going to establish you as what people call a thought leader, as an expert. Just think about the people that are most well-known in any given industry. They write books, they publish podcasts, they have videos, they have articles. They're prolific with their content and intellectual property creation. The reason for that is that content is one of the most powerful ways to demonstrate value. And so as you keep doing more and more of this, which is also for most people more comfortable because you don't feel the discomfort or kind of those uncomfortable feelings of reaching out to people, right? Kind of what people sometimes feel is a little bit salesy that comes with outbound. But if you do outbound properly, it doesn't actually feel salesy at all. It's all about serving and helping and providing value. But you can do then more inbound, less outbound, because you already have a pipeline and you don't need the clients right now. So when you're starting, you want more clients. So you go for the method that's going to help you to get traction faster. But once you already have a bit of a pipeline established, you have the businesses already built, you have some clients coming in, now you can just do more inbound. And even though it might take a little bit longer, all of this kind of inertia and energy that you've been building up in the inbound channel will continue to compound for you. And then going forward, right, you're able to do this. So in our example, right, we've been at Consulting Success. We've been working with consultants for 13 years. We've been publishing blog posts, articles, podcasts, videos, all that kind of stuff for over a decade, right, in some cases. And so we only do inbound right now. I mean, we have some ads and things like that going just to kind of help support and increase our reach and distribution. But in general, almost everything we do is inbound. But that wasn't necessarily the case, from day one when we wanted to reach out to people or make contacts. And this is not to say that even when your business is very developed, that you stop doing outbound. You might decide to continue doing outbound, but you might bring someone on, like a virtual assistant or a team member, or hire a team, depending on what scale and kind of size you're at, to run that for you. But for most independent consultants, right, solo consultants or small consulting firms, this is the marketing maturity model, right? You want to make sure that you're doing the vast majority initially of outbound, complement that and support it with inbound. As time goes on and you start having clients, you start building your pipeline, you can do less and less outbound, more and more inbound, and your business will thrive if you do those things correctly. Does that make sense, guys? Anyone here have a question on that? Again, I would really appreciate if you hit the like button, put in a little comment, let me know what you think. The more people that hit on like, the more that the algorithms, again, I'm told this is how it works, will help to distribute this this video. That means more people will see it, more viewers, more engagement, makes it better for us that we can now do more and more of this as well. So I'd really appreciate if you could hit that like button. But I really want to know, do you guys have any questions about the marketing maturity model and how this works, right? So depending on where you are at, if you already have a strong kind of full pipeline of business and opportunities, you may not need to do much outbound right now. You might just be able to go right into inbound, right? And just kind of pick up from this place. But if you are earlier stage in your consulting business, you want to make sure that you are doing more outbound to begin with, because that's going to help you to generate more of that kind of traction, progress, momentum, and initial pipeline. Complement that with inbound. Does that make sense, everyone? Okay, so Melinda here, let me see. You are asking, is there a measure, a percentage, or some indicator when you begin decreasing the outbound? Yeah, I mean, there's no like scientific when you're at X%, or I can't tell you that. I'd love to be able to, Melinda, but that's not really how it works. It's more about when you see your pipeline and it looks quite robust, and you have clients, you look at the opportunities around you and you feel like, yeah, I have enough opportunities around me that I don't need the business today. Like I don't actually necessarily need a new client until a month or 2 or 3 kind of down the road. Like you give yourself a bit of time. That allows you now start making that switch. But what's really important, Melinda, and everyone else here, is that you should not only be doing outbound and then all of a sudden starting to do inbound. You want to make sure that you're also doing inbound, because one of the things that we teach our clients at Consulting Success is to make sure you have both of these going, because the content, let me just write that here, the content that you're going to create, right? So the content you kind of create as part of your inbound strategy, what you want to actually do is you want to bring this right into your outbound, because then what you're doing is you're not just sending salesy emails all the time. You're actually providing valuable information, valuable content to the people that you're reaching out to. So I hope that helps. Patrick saying, this is excellent advice. During the pandemic, I created content, posted 3 times per week, and started to establish myself as a thought leader. Now I use outbound to land new clients. Yeah, great stuff. Fantastic, Patrick. Well done. Let me know if you got a question, but that's really wonderful. Thanks for sharing. Katrina, you're saying great information, makes sense. Is this updated in the Momentum program as well? Yeah, well, first of all, Katrina, welcome to Momentum. Really glad that you're part of the community there in the program. And yeah, there's this information definitely in the Momentum program. But if you have any questions about this, just reach out, let us know, and we're always here to support you. But thanks so much for being part of the Momentum program. And that's, if you guys go over to consultingsuccess.com and then just go to under where it says course, you can learn more about the program that Katrina is talking about there called Momentum. That's our kind of #1 best-selling program for early stage consultants. If you want a full system, start to finish, of exactly what to do step-by-step to build a successful consulting business, just click on course, and Momentum is for you. Okay, Vincente, you're saying, I guess that the lines will have to change when new services or products are launched. Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, Vincente. And you could look at this, and especially for those of you who are very detailed and mathematical or scientific, you might kind of interpret this a little bit differently. This is just a very rough kind of way of thinking. It's a high level overview of how to think about what type of marketing to be doing. And again, within each one of these, right, you're going to, there's a whole bunch of different things. Like under outbound, you're going to have emails, phone calls, direct mail, LinkedIn messages, all kinds of stuff like that, right? Inbound, you're going to have content, speaking, podcasts, webinars, so on, so on, so on. So deciding on each one of those, there's a lot of factors, a lot of variables that, we'd have to know more about your specific situation. But that's what I would, so in terms of different products, different services, what scale, what size your business is at, definitely it'll, that's going to depend where you're at in your business. So, and what you're launching, but it's a good point. Desney, thanks so much. Really glad that you're enjoying the Momentum program. Thanks for the shout out there. Really appreciate it. Okay, so Jason, you're asking, so this is considered outbound? No, this is considered inbound, right? Because I'm jumping onto a LinkedIn Live here right now. You guys are generously, which I really appreciate that you're here joining me, right? So this is content creation. This video will then live on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, right, forever, for a period of time. This is a really good example of what inbound is all about. Now, if I took this content, Jason, and I sent it to people that I wanted to bring into our world and build relationships with, I would be using an outbound tactic, right, and sharing an inbound content. So that's kind of the way to think about it. Great questions, guys. Anyone else have any questions about this? Again, if you go to consultingsuccess.com/stream, STREAM, you can submit a question every week, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm doing these Consulting Success live streams. And always appreciate getting questions from you all coming in. And we might even do a whole kind of episode around a topic that you submit. So if you'd like to submit, again, consultingsuccess.com/stream. Really appreciate all the likes and comments. If you haven't yet hit the like button or the subscribe button, please go ahead and do that. That really helps us to get the word out there about these live streams. And our goal is just get more and more people joining us live and watching afterwards as well. All right. Monica from Kenya, welcome. Great to have you here. Anyone else have any questions here before we wrap up for today about your consulting business, anything that you're working on, anything that you're thinking about, anything that's just top of mind for you? I want to take a few minutes. If there is anything, we'll do a little Q&A and then we'll wrap up for here for today. So let me know, guys. I'll get that whiteboard out of the way there. All right, let me know if there's any, let's see if I missed any questions. Appreciate everything that came in here, first of all. Melinda said it makes sense that you need both. I would think inbound would come as you build a client base and you have conducted outbound marketing as well. Yep, definitely. Okay, so, oh, that was the wrong one. Let's see why we're getting that one. There we go, okay. I thought I saw a different question. So Melinda, you're asking how much is too much outbound? Is there such a thing? No, not really. I mean, it's not, there's never such thing as too much outbound. If outbound is working for you, keep doing it. But what you'll find is that once your business has established and you're at a certain level, that you may not need to do as much outbound because you've done quite a bit of outbound. You have a pipeline, you have clients, you have, you don't need that client like next week, next month, right? You're good for a period of time. You're starting to be booked up. You can see that your business is thriving. That's a great opportunity to start switching to inbound, because inbound lasts a lot longer, right? Outbound, you send one email, you have to follow up, but it's just one time and it's gone. You write an article, put it on your website, and that can last for many years. That can help you to generate new clients for many years to come. Okay, Mel, welcome Mel from YouTube. Great to have you here. You're saying, what is your opinion on using surveys for outbound outreach? Yeah, surveys, it's a great question, Mel. And surveys are one of these things that they can work really well. At the same time, not many people like to take part in surveys. So I prefer polls on LinkedIn or, I mean, any platform. But if you can somehow kind of gamify a survey or make it short and still get engagement, I really like that. One of the things that we've taught some of our clients in our Clarity Coaching program is how you can actually use polls, right, to generate a lot of leads. Because when you create a poll on LinkedIn, you can see who's engaged in that poll and you can then reach out to that person. So that's kind of one way that I would do it. But just think about your own experience of if a company sends you a survey, do you want to take part in it? And if you do, why do you want to? And if you don't, why don't you want to? You probably learn from that and try and replicate that. But that's how I would think about it. Monica, great. Yeah, very much looking forward to having you join the Momentum program. I wasn't planning to talk. I usually don't spend this time talking about our offers very much or our programs, but I'm glad that so many of you are bringing it up and getting a lot of value from it, and looking forward to welcoming you, Monica, and others into the Momentum program. Again, if you go to consultingsuccess.com, just the course button at the top there, you can find out all about Momentum. And I know many of you here are already part of that program. Fernando, you may use a different type of outbound while you progress. Fernando, let me know if that's a question. I'll interpret it as one, maybe as you're typing in. But yes, you can definitely change your approach of outbound. And in fact, the most effective marketing is always a mixture, right? So I shouldn't say always. Most of the time, it's a mixture. Things are never always, right? Never 100%. But in most cases, you'll find that if you're, for example, sending emails, you complement that with a text message or with a phone call or with direct mail or with some other channel, right? Tends to increase the overall response rate as opposed to just doing only email or only phone calls or only direct mail or only one way, right? It's the same thing with content, as opposed to just doing articles. When you have articles, you have videos, you have podcasts, you don't have to do all these things all at once, but the more that you put these out over time, the better, right? You become kind of omnipresent. You're all over the place in many different formats. And the reality is some people will respond better to different formats, right? Some people are just going to respond better to a podcast than they would to an article. Some people will respond better to an article than they would to a video. So you got to test these things and you have to learn and see what works best. Now, of course, there are some best practices and things to look for. And so, yeah, if you want more information about that, Fernando, or anyone else, just feel free to reach out, get in touch with us. You can always send an email to info@consultingsuccess.com. And we're happy to see how we can best support you with that and learn more about your specific situation. All right, Desney, you're saying, what is your opinion on using LinkedIn Sales Navigator as an outbound strategy? So LinkedIn Sales Navigator, I mean, great point, doesn't he? By itself is not, I wouldn't call it a strategy. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a tool that allows you to identify ideal clients. It's a very powerful one. It's one that we talk a lot about and share with our clients. There's other tools that also do similar things. Apollo.io is another one. There's a whole bunch of them out there. But for those of you who aren't familiar with LinkedIn Sales Navigator, what it essentially allows you to do is to input a bunch of criteria like geography, job title, company size, industry, whole bunch of other things. And from that, you get search results of the people that match that criteria. And so if you're very clear, if you know who your ideal client is, if you've gone through that process, what we call kind of the niche, so I should say niche or niche scoring method, putting those two words together. So let's say the niche scoring method that we have in the Momentum program and Clarity as well, you can score, right, who your best, kind of most profitable, most likely to be successful ideal client is. So when you're very clear on your ideal client, now you can input that criteria into something like LinkedIn Sales Navigator and then get a list of people who match that criteria and then begin building relationships and adding value for those people. So that's how I would think about the tool. Desney, it's not, I wouldn't consider it a strategy because you can replicate that same thing with many different tools, but it is a very powerful tool that works for many consultants. It works in many industries. So yeah, I would highly recommend taking a look at that or others. But yes, definitely the idea is finding a tool like that can help you to identify people so that it makes it easier to actually start reaching out to them, I should say. All right, Daniel, you're saying, should consultants offer flexible payment terms to start with customers or insist on the I think it's okay, value. Okay, you put in here value afterwards. So I think you mean value that's worth upfront payment. So if I kind of try and interpret what you're asking here, Daniel, should consultants provide payment plans to their clients? And the answer to that is it depends. It can certainly be one strategy, right? If you really want to work with somebody and you're finding that you need to have a payment plan in place, then put a payment plan in place. But you might also find that doesn't work well for you because you have to chase clients for payments depending on the situation of those clients. So I would encourage you to test it out, think about it. It's always better to be able to receive payment upfront because then you can spend your time focusing on delivering for that client, creating a great experience. But nobody likes to spend their time chasing, clients for payment, and you shouldn't. That's not what you're in business for. You're in business to help. Not to worry about getting paid or not. So that's why I always like getting paid up front, even if you're on a retainer, right? Let's say we're month of July right now, but let's just say you're working for the month of July for a client. You would take payment by July 1st, if not the end of June, for the whole month of July, and then you do the work for the month of July, right? That way you're not having to worry, at the end of the month of July, now I have to invoice and collect. In some situations, of course, working with large organizations, yeah, you're going to need to have terms like that where you are collecting, at the end of the month or net 30 or net 60 or whatever. But in most cases, if you can, it's always better to collect as much as you can up front. Matt, welcome, Matt. You're saying, is LinkedIn more effective for recruiting versus selling, especially for car industry? Great question. And, I don't know if this is necessarily related to the car industry. We've worked with many consultants that are in the automotive industry. And I think LinkedIn can be a great tool for both recruiting and selling if you use it appropriately. The challenge and the problem I'd say with LinkedIn right now is that people are using LinkedIn too much like a sales tool. And so there's just so much spam on LinkedIn, right? You're getting messages from all kinds of people. And so the default for many buyers of advisory or consulting services is that they kind of tune out, right? So I think in that way, recruiting is still very powerful. We've kind of helped and guided many clients on how to build their team and how to recruit for their consulting business as they start growing and growing and growing. And LinkedIn is certainly a part of that. But you can still sell effectively and build relationships effectively on LinkedIn. But you got to be careful or just kind of wary of what you're doing or conscious of your approach so that you're not coming across as just being another salesperson on LinkedIn. I hope that helps, Matt. Let me know if not, and if you still got a further question. Okay, yeah, Desney, good stuff. No worries, man. Okay, Cynthia, can LinkedIn Sales Navigator search companies or just yeah? So it can do both. So in LinkedIn Sales Navigator, they have what's called the account level, and then kind of the I don't know if it's the individual level, but essentially at the account level, you can search for companies, and that gives you some really interesting criteria to play with. For example, percentage of growth, like headcount growth or revenue growth. So if you're looking for companies that are growing their headcount, let's say by 20% or more, you could put that in and find those companies. And then from there, you get the list of companies and you can drill down into each and then find the appropriate decision maker in each of those companies. Okay, Dara, you're saying, hello, Michael. What do you think about offering an initial complimentary consultation, no cost? Did that 30 minutes No response. Okay. I'm not sure what the did that 30 minutes no response part, but in terms of offering initial complimentary consultation, if you're working with organizations and buyers, then you're almost always going to have at least one, if not two, if not more, conversations with them, because when they're looking to invest, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000, $1 million with you, then it's not something they're going to jump on one call and sign up right away, right? Unless you're a really well-known established brand. So in most cases, yeah, having an opportunity to speak with you where you don't charge, yeah, even if you're selling something that is lower priced, a couple $1,000s or $10,000, it still makes sense to have a conversation before you just try and get somebody to click on a button. Most people will not just click on a button and pay several thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? That's why I always say focus on conversations, right? Don't just focus on content. Don't just focus on all the other things that you could do. Focus first on conversations and then optimize everything else around that to support getting more conversations. Okay, Matt, you're very welcome. Great. Never seen GR8 before, but got it right away. Nice. All right, everyone. We're actually over 30 minutes, which was not the plan here today. I'd like to try and keep these short, but I'm always happy to stay on longer and very glad to see the engagement here today. So thank you all so much. Again, hit the like button if you haven't yet. I really appreciate that. Gets us out to more people. And head on over, even more important, head on over to consultingsuccess.com/stream, STREAM, so that you can post or just ask a question. Let me know what you would like to cover, what topic, what's on your mind. And that way we can go into that topic or at least explore and consider it for an upcoming session. Again, every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, we do this Consulting Success live stream. And I really appreciate all of you guys for showing up and joining. So thank you all. If you have any further questions, if you're early stage and you're looking to grow your consulting business, head on over to consultingsuccess.com. You can check out our course there called Momentum. If you really want to accelerate and get some personal coaching and support, we have our Clarity Coaching Program. We've had over 600 consultants go through that program. We've helped them to add 6 and even 7 figures to their annual revenues and really help them to to grow, to be profitable, to scale while making a greater impact and really enjoying the lifestyle that comes with that. So thank you guys all so much for coming on. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to shoot us an email directly, info@consultingsuccess.com. Have a wonderful rest of the day, guys. Take care and bye for now.